What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rewind Podcast. I'm Brian. This is Audrey. And today we're going to be discussing my personal transformation and sort of how Rewind started. And so Audrey is going to actually be leading the show today, asking me a bunch of questions. How you doing today, Audrey?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, thanks. You excited to like put me under the gun?
I am excited. I mean, I've heard a lot of your story, but it will be nice to share it with everyone.
And now you get to ask me the questions today. So ask away. Let's do it.
All right. So I guess we'll just get started with kind of a little background on you, who you are, what inspired you to, start the health journey, and ultimately, I guess, led to Rewind. So
awesome. So first, about 12 years ago, I owned a different business, which was search engine optimization, a website development business. And it was the second business I owned. The first one, I think we sold when I was 28. And I just realized that I was sort of lacking in motivation. The business was really good, but I wasn't trying to expand it. Like I felt like I had lost the drive that I had on my first business. And I just knew that something was off because I would just sit there all day long and just do the bare minimum. And I was always telling myself that tomorrow was the day that I was going to start something. Tomorrow was the day that I was going to start something. And so I was in a little bit of like a weird funk. I even think of it as like a weird type of depression where it's not depressed as in sitting around depressed. It's more just like, I think, lethargic feeling. And then, another key moment. So I was talking to my client, one of our clients of that business, and then he's a client of our current business. And he was telling me, I've been telling you for 3 years to try testosterone out, that you'd feel dramatically better. So that's when I started to entertain the idea of going to a clinic like Rewind. And then the next big one was a friend of mine from Michigan was down in Miami, and we made a bet to see who would get in the best shape in 5 months. My good friend Kiko, so shout out to Kiko. And so anyway, we both showed up, and I lost after 5 months like 5 pounds. I was doing all the stuff that was working in my 30s and 30s and 20s, and it just wasn't working any longer for me. And so that's when I really went to I remember, I think it was like December 13th. And I went to a clinic. We ran some labs. I was low in testosterone, low in growth hormone. And so I just decided to do this program out of the blue. Mm-hmm. And I decided to start it right before the holidays because I thought, why am I going to like keep going out, living in Miami, going to all these holiday parties, eating, drinking, and then start out the next year 5 pounds heavier? And so I just decided right then, and I ordered, and I had no confidence because there wasn't a lot of information out, back then about clinics and HRT, and YouTube was just sort of starting to grow. So there wasn't all of this really good information out there. And so I went to a clinic. I decided to start, like I said, a couple weeks before the end of the year. And then I'll talk a little bit about this later on, but some of the steps of what I used to actually make such good progress. But, I went on testosterone, I went on growth hormone booster, and 5 months later, I think I had lost 30 pounds. I went from being about 30% body fat down to probably about 14%. Felt amazing, total shift in energy level. And so that was the very beginning, like the quick sort of summary of it.
Nice. So that's crazy. You said the first 5 months you only lost 5 pounds, and then 5 months into starting with the products, you were able to lose like
exactly 30.
Exactly.
And then, and I'll show a progression of these because I have them, and we have a different video of it on the website. But I decided to take pictures every single week just to make myself accountable. And because a lot of these products weren't really popular back then, mm-hmm. that I was thinking to myself, this is going to be it. This is the like game changer. And so I started taking pictures every Monday. So I'll include in this video the progression of pictures, but then one after the other, you start to see change. You start to believe. It's like some things you don't believe are possible until you start achieving them. So I think never hold yourself back. Just sort of set some really aggressive goals and then work towards achieving those goals.
Yeah, and then wanting to start all of this for you was more so how you were feeling versus how you looked. And then later
Exactly. So I think that's another key that I learned. I wasn't doing it to get, not being in shape was part of the problem, but the bigger problem was not having the mental energy and the focus to actually go and grow my other business. And so that's how I knew something was off. And then my goal wasn't to get to 14%. I mean, having a low body fat percentage and being in shape is like a really good positive benefit, but it wasn't the real goal. The goal was to feel better, to get out of that depressed mode. And then as a result of feeling so good, the getting in shape became, I think, very easy.
Yeah, I think that that's like one cool aspect about all of this stuff is that like most people start because of how they like feel. And then when you start to feel better, everything else just like falls into place. And there's like all these added perks and benefits to getting everything in order.
Well, I think also sometimes people come to us to get in better shape, but then they would admit if you ask them what's the best benefit, it's actually feeling better.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the ultimate goal is to feel your best. Feel your best, you'll look your best, right?
100%.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of move into some of the challenges that you faced. Maybe if you had like some in particular that were like your biggest ones, how you overcame them.
Sure. I think the biggest challenge initially was going to a clinic. Mm-hmm. That was like number one. Number one was sort of admitting that you might have a problem, admitting that your hormone levels might not be fantastic. And then, not having experienced it yet, the other, I think, big challenge is believing that it can have such a positive impact on you. So, you don't hear, until you experience the products, you don't really know what the sort of outcome is going to be. So you're sort of wondering. And then, I think some other challenges are that you have lifestyle, you get, as you get older, you get sort of set in your ways, living in Miami, going out to dinner, eating a lot, or entertaining, going out for cocktails. And so I just adjusted. I think first placing my priority, that's actually a good rule. Placing my health as the number one priority, I think was initially a challenge. And now it's something I live by. So, in Miami, there's a phrase that's like FOMO. I mean, this is everywhere, I guess, right? FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out on this party or this event or this holiday thing or this vacation or this boating. And then you can delay making any type of positive changes to your life forever because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be a reason not to start.
Yeah. So, all of those just sound like excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, getting rid of excuses, setting some goals, and, there are all these obstacles that we put in our own way, and we just have to remove all of those. And then, I would call it positioning ourselves for success. Mm-hmm. So just doing all of the right things. And I would say just believing that it could work and then, placing health as the number one priority were probably the biggest challenges, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you feel like it was harder to find a routine that you were able to stick with and was routine hard for you? Were you already a pretty routine person? Because all of these programs that we recommend to people, routine is a huge part of it. So
yeah, I don't think routine for me was really pretty simple to incorporate because when I get really motivated about something, I just go do it. Mm-hmm. That may go back to, a long time ago playing high school football. If you wanted to play on the high school football team where I'm from, you have 2-day practices all of August. You got to be there. You can't be late. It's super regimented. I remember also family members teaching certain things like my grandfather, my mom, maybe even more so because I remember an instance with my grandfather always being on time. Mm-hmm. And, when you commit to being on time, being 5 minutes late is, not right because you don't have respect for that other person. So I think setting up a routine once you're sort of regimented is pretty easy.
Yeah.
And for me, it was literally okay, my health is number one. So I'm going to start doing all of those things to, try to be successful. Working out 5 to 6. I'm not a like crazy 3-hour a day gym guy. I don't believe in that. That's not sustainable. 5 to 6 days a week during that initial push, 45 to 60 minutes. I also strength training. Mm-hmm. I also did a lot of walking. I didn't have a Fitbit way back then, but for sure I was averaging over 10,000 steps a day. I also took, sort of some self-reflection and thought to myself, what am I doing watching TV if I'm depressed and not feeling my best? So I would start listening to podcasts, going for walks throughout the day. And it all just sort of added up. And then also getting rid of, bad food. Yeah. I had, I would say that's also an obstacle. When you have unhealthy food around, it's really easy to regress into eating unhealthy. And so just trying to remove all of those unhealthy foods out of my home and, incorporating more healthy foods was also, I think, a key to success. And then it was just add all of those things together, optimized hormones, consistently working out, getting a high number of steps in, and cleaning up the diet. And literally in that 5 months or 18 weeks, I think I dropped 30, 35 pounds. And at the end of that, that's when I started thinking about starting Rewind, because it had been easy. It wasn't like I was running a marathon or training for a marathon, or if I was working out for 3 hours a day. Mm-hmm. I literally just thought to myself that anyone could get in shape if I could get in shape, especially with how fast I got in shape. And it literally was just by, committing to an hour a day and some extra walking. And, the weight started to come off. I started feeling really, really healthy again. And, it was sort of on a positive upward spiral for once, instead of being in a downward spiral, which is too easy to get into in life.
Yeah, I would agree. So moving on from that, was it easy for you to find motivation? What was it that was motivating you the whole time through your process?
I think just the number one motivator for me was trying to get mentally and physically healthier. So as I mentioned earlier, I was feeling a little bit depressed. Like I said, it wasn't like you would run into me and be like, wow, that guy is so depressed. But it was just this lethargic, not wanting to get anything really done. And so I think that to get motivated, it was no, I'm doing this for a reason. Number one, it was a big investment financially. So, not knowing about anything that we do. And the pricing at the other clinic was more expensive even than our prices are today. And so it was a really big financial commitment. So I just sort of said to myself, if I'm investing in this and I'm investing in my health, I should try to motivate. And then I used some tools to keep me motivated. So I would weigh myself every day. We had a scale in the gym. And the way that I thought about the scale in the gym was, if I lose weight, I was pumped. But if I didn't lose weight or gain weight, I was pissed. So I'd be super mad. So I was using every little thing as this little chip on my shoulder to drive myself to better results. And then taking the Monday morning pictures, I took a Monday morning picture without a shirt on to, just sort of see what my body composition, if it was changing or not. And then also, because I did it on Monday, there was no more Sunday fun day. There was no more sitting at the pool, barbecuing and eating a bunch of junk food. And so it was really all about trying to establish really good habits. And then there was one week where I felt that I felt that the progress had sort of stalled or maybe even reversed, and having that picture and looking at them and saying, I think I might be in a little bit worse shape this week than that week. Now, I felt like I put in the same effort, but it was still like a motivator of whatever I did this week wasn't enough. So maybe I stepped it up the next. And then it was just, when you start seeing progress and your clothes start fitting better and you're going down belt loops, it just, positive results drove more and more motivation for me.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, just from personal experience, it is such a big financial commitment, especially if you feel results and see results. So a lot of people want to get their money's worth. So it's easy to not only take all of the products, but also put in all the extra work as far as you were saying, changing your diet, changing your habits, those type of things. Because it's a big commitment in a lot of aspects?
Well, I think also, people aren't used to investing in their health. It's the one thing that, we're in a very consumer sort of driven, material driven society and world. And it's really easy to go out and spend, $1,000 for the next iPhone and upgrade every year. And it's really easy to go out and buy outfits to go out with, or fancy dress shoes, or in Miami, going out to nice dinners or happy hours. Those have obviously expensive price tags in many cases associated with them. And people are used to and conditioned to spending that way, but people are not used to, and I wasn't either, used to investing in my own health.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, because this is so long ago, even gym memberships were, like $50 to $80 a month. So it wasn't, and most buildings down here have, gyms. And so the gym prices were really even more reasonable. So maximum people are sort of used to paying back then like $50 a month for a gym. And now we have these like mega gyms, and they're more like social clubs, and they can be a couple $100 a month. And, some of the therapies that we have are more expensive. But again, I think a big hurdle that a lot of people have is just realizing that it's an investment in themselves.
Yeah.
And I always feel like in our clients, a lot of them come back and say this to us, that they end up doing much better career-wise, because if you, forget about looks and being in shape, I mean, that's great, but having more energy to make the additional phone call, more mental clarity, more mental focus, more productive, you're happier, you're in a good mood. And so a lot of that stuff ends up permeating out of that person. And so, a lot of people come back and just end up like crushing it career-wise. And so I think that a lot of people end up doing, whatever you invest in yourself, sometimes you get it back monetarily, but you also get it back in something that can't be measured, which is quality of life.
I would
It's quality of life.
agree with that big time. Definitely. So then when you first started, like, can you think of any like lifestyle changes that maybe you didn't realize you wanted to make or needed to make that ended up making a difference for you?
Yeah. I mean, a big one that I thought was temporary, but has, sort of stuck, was drinking less alcohol. Initially, I just thought to myself, alcohol is a depressant. If I'm feeling a little bit down, why am I even having any cocktails? And, we're in a really social town, so that wasn't really easy to get away from. I think in that first 5 months, I maybe had alcohol 3 times. One was maybe a toast on my birthday. Another time was a charity event. And I forget what the third time was, but, really just took it way down. And then what I realized was that I felt so good after those 5 months that I just never went back to going out 2 days a week, or however many times a week I was going out back then. And I realized that I was waking up and being more productive on Saturdays. My weekends were, I think, more fulfilling and more energetic. And then I adopted something. This is, I think, is a great rule of thumb. I call it like focused drinking. And by that, I like to think about, if you're having a really fantastic time, and you think that it's going to be, additive to have a couple drinks, that's great. But so many times, we're sitting around at home, or people are sitting around at home watching a basketball game with friends. I know when I watch a Miami Heat game with my friends, we enjoy it, or I enjoy it the same amount, whether I'm having a couple of cocktails or not. So, I remember watching a game with a couple of my friends in the building that I used to live in. And, normally we'd just be having a couple cocktails. Now they were having cocktails. I just wasn't, because I was trying to get in shape. And I realized that, hey, I'm having just as great a time, and I'm going to wake up feeling fresher tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so then, that was, I think, a really positive change. And, I'm not really ever anti-alcohol. I enjoy still having a glass of wine here and there. And, I'm, not advocating against it, but I'm against anything where people are letting it get in their way of hitting their health objectives. So if it's going out and drinking too much alcohol on the weekend and then eating unhealthy food as a result of that, or if it's eating ice cream every day, or just any habit around food or drink that is getting in the way of someone achieving their health goals, I think is an issue. And again, it's health first. And then, if once people hit their objectives, if they can want to have cocktails, and even myself, I still enjoy it. But I found that was a big one that sort of had a lot of positive effects for me.
I would agree. I think that's like for a lot of people that happens when it comes to the alcohol and not drinking. But you were saying that when you would hang out with friends, you know, a lot of that was centered around alcohol. So I think that kind of like segues into like who supported you through your journey. Did your friends like ever make you feel a type of way for, not drinking or being like so focused in on like health, and like who supported you? Do you have any like certain instances that you can share where support was like crucial for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty headstrong. Like, I'm pretty stubborn. So when I decide to do something, I decide to do it. I think initially people were just surprised. Like, you're not going to have a cocktail. What's going on? Why are you not drinking? And I would just tell them, hey, I'm on a health kick right now. And then they'd say, really? You think it's helping you that much? And I'm like, well, if you go to happy hour, even if you're not drinking a lot, if you had 3, 4, 5, 6 beers, that's 600-700 calories. And then if you have appetizers out, or if you eat late when you get home, if the next day you don't skip a workout, I just did the math. The real reason why I sort of stopped was the depressant aspect of alcohol, but also just the empty calories for me. I was like trying to get in shape and feel better about myself.
Yeah.
And I was just doing the math of like, okay, every time I drink, that's probably like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
So if I do that twice a week, that's a half pound, and that's, 2 pounds a month or whatever it ends up being. And so I just was literally cutting it out to get rid of calories. And then I just started feeling so much better, and I'd be so much more productive the following days that it just stuck. So, in terms of being supportive, I think they just sort of questioned it at first, but no one ever gave me a hard time.
Yeah.
And, all of my friends are, I think good friends want to support you, and whatever you do, whatever makes you happy, and they welcome you in. And if that's not your vibe anymore, then they're going to meet you out for lunch instead of partying at a club.
Yeah.
And then, if not, they're going to say, hey man, have a soda, come out and just have a soda, which a lot of my friends would be like, dude, you can just come out and have, a
just
soda.
there, yeah.
Exactly. Just come out and still hang out. You don't have to have. So I had, I think, really supportive friends. And then, but I did skip a lot of stuff. And I didn't see a lot of people during that time period because I was so focused. So when people finally saw me after 6 months, a lot of people were shocked.
Did you have anyone that held you accountable, or was it just really yourself that you...
Yeah, just me. I mean, it was really... I set a goal for myself to get healthy and to, be more productive and be in a better place from a mental perspective. And then because I was athletic when I was younger and used to be in good shape, I was sort of tired of being out of shape. And, weightlifting, strength training is fun when you're getting stronger. So it's like positive reinforcement. You're getting stronger at the gym, and all of those things are changing. And then, no, I was just accountable to myself, really.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I feel like we do at Rewind is we grow like personal relationships with all of our clients. So it's easy for us to like shoot them a text and say like, how are things going for you? So I didn't know if maybe you had something like that at the clinic you initially worked with, or if there was just anyone like checking in on your progress. I mean, of course, your friends see the results and comment on it, whatever, but having someone that's with you through the journey.
No, I mean, that's one of the reasons, by the way, that I started Rewind, was I didn't think that they gave great service to me in a couple different areas, but they definitely weren't following up.
Yeah.
The only thing they were following up with were on orders. Where I think that we do it differently is we obviously try to get people to come back. A lot of people don't want to come to the office and spend the time doing a body composition, but we always have open doors, and we're always trying to get people back in and help them try to figure out their health. So we have a lot of people that do come to the office, and I think those people that focus on the coming in and doing the body comps tend to see, really good results, and they're accountable, and we try to help them to be. And then, as we have one client who went from, it's a very crazy story. We had one client who was coming in every month to 2 months, went from 38% body fat down to 19% body fat. And then he had a like side project, a hobby he wanted to undertake, and he wanted to cut back on one of the programs. And I said to most of the staff, I'm not sure if you were here yet then, but I said, you know, I hope that he doesn't now drop the ball, because sometimes, you know, you don't want to, when something is working, you don't reprioritize if you put your health number one. And then I followed up with him for a year. He's still our client. He just didn't come into the office for a body comp for an entire year, and he gained 10% of the body fat back.
Yeah.
So he was pretty upset with himself. But, you know, we try to help people be accountable for those people that want, you know, our help and guidance. And then for myself, now I just really was trying to, like I said, trying to work myself out of a rut.
That's great, because I think, like, at the end of the day, like, you really only have yourself. So you can support yourself and uplift yourself. But I do think it's nice to have other people pushing you to just get better and better and better. And compliments go a long way. And, like, people taking the time to just acknowledge, like, I see that you're working hard. Keep it up. So, yeah, support definitely goes a long way. So I want to move on to, like, some more present type of questions. So did you have anything else you wanted to comment on about, like, your journey leading up to where you are now before we move on?
No, I mean, I would say the number one message that I would like to get out there to anyone who's struggling with hormones or not feeling well or don't think that it's possible to get in shape is that anything is possible. You know, I started off probably around 30% body fat. In my whole thought process on health has been like this huge paradigm shift, where now out of shape to me is like 15-16% body fat, which is in the healthy range. Before, it used to be 25 or 30% would have been out of shape. And in shape to me is better than that, you know, maybe 10%, 11%, 12%. You know, that's just my sort of take on my personal health as a goal. So I've had this shift in what I think is healthy and unhealthy. And then, you know, now it's been 12 years that I haven't been out of shape. You know, I've had really good health for 12 years that I never thought was possible. I didn't think at 54, you know, that I would look or feel this way or be this healthy, because I felt like as you went into your 50s, that it would be sort of on the back end of everything and your health would sort of be going downhill. And now I look at it and I think I can have another great 20 years, great 25 years. I mean, we have a client who's 73, who's, you know, 13% body fat. We have some 60-year-old guys in their mid and upper 60s who are 10 to 12% body fat. Of course, they exercise, they eat healthy, they do all of the right things, but anything is possible. So never count yourself out. It's just doing a lot. You know, I express this a lot to our clients. It's doing a lot of the small things excellent over a long period of time. And it's not like 3-hour workouts every day. It's just 4 to 5 strength training sessions a week, 45 to 60 minutes, walk, be accountable on the diet, and, you know, don't self-sabotage too much, which we all can do it at some point. So no, anyone could do it. We love helping people. So if you feel like any of this stuff that we're talking about hits you, obviously give us a call. But just know that anyone can change and anyone can have good health. It's just a matter of focusing, making good lifestyle decisions, and then doing it in such a way where it's sustainable. Yeah. And you're the perfect example. You know, you're down 14% body fat. Yeah, you're down 15% body fat. I'm down probably about 15%, 18%. And it's just about, you know, sustaining really good habits over a long period of time.
All right. Yeah. So now I want to talk about, like, present day, what you do now. And what I first want to touch on is just, like, your workout routine. What type of workouts do you do? I know that you said, like, strength training 4 to 5 times a week, 45 minutes, but, like, what's a normal workout week look like for you?
Yeah. I would tell you that there's a lot of data out there now that shows how important strength training is for longevity purposes. Peter T has a couple videos on it, Huberman has some good podcasts on it, but a lot of data shows how important strength training is. Number one, in my eyes, the number one thing is that our metabolisms don't slow down as we age, but we lose muscle mass. And because we lose that muscle mass, our metabolism slows down. So it's not, it doesn't have to be that way. And when we optimize hormone levels and we go to the gym and we strength train, we maintain that muscle mass, which drives a higher metabolism. So take a look at Sylvester Stallone. The guy looks amazing. He's 78 years old. Well, he's been strength training his entire life. I assume, he has a great group of doctors, so he's taking hormones. So obviously when he's in the gym, he's going to see really good results. And because he has that muscle mass, that's going to help drive metabolism. And so, there are also data studies that show that strength training, putting the body and bones under load, help from a bone density perspective. And so if we continue to strength train our bone structure, it makes sense, right? If we're not stressing the skeleton that supports us, then of course it's going to become weaker. And they realized when our astronauts are in space, they were losing bone density, and it's because they weren't under load, right? So NASA developed exercise programs when they're out in space long term to help keep that bone density. And so that's one of the positives of as we age, continuing to strength train. And then we all know, when you look at hip fractures for older people can be, in many cases like a death sentence that the people can't recover from. And so keeping the bones strong is really important as we age, because if we fall, we don't want to suffer one of those critical breaks. So, it's really simple. Old school. I like old school. Now, fine, everyone, I think any workout is a good workout, but I'm just old school. I like old school sort of bodybuilding, strength training exercises, powerlifting, bench press, squats. I don't do so many deadlifts. I love pull-ups, one arm. I do military presses, but with one arm, alternating. I do a lot of functional training. So other than bench press, I think everything that I do is impacting multiple muscle groups. So, for example, when I do military press, I do standing military press, one arm at a time, and so you obviously have to have your core engaged. And so once my uncle gave me this great book, God rest his soul, Uncle Bill. I was thinking about you. He gave me this book a long time ago, and it was about functional powerlifting and strength training, and just gave a great example of when, because we have these military machines, shoulder press machines where you have a back support. When are you ever in life going to have back support when you're pushing something over your head? Never.
Yeah, when you're throwing your suitcase up above the
exactly. That's when people get injured, because they're not training how they live.
Yeah.
And so, doing stuff like that, or standing curls one arm at a time, these are the things I do. Or I do cable rows one arm at a time, standing, not sitting. So you have to have your whole body engaged. So it's a combination of like old school bodybuilding and then, sort of functional training and hitting multiple muscle groups, and nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like from a maintenance standpoint, if I do 4 workouts a week, I'm basically maintaining. And then if I get 5 in, I'm probably gaining a little bit. And if I get 6 in, it's probably a little overtraining, but I feel like, I'm getting a little bit better shape when I make the effort to do 6 days a week. But I think 5 is really good. And then maybe throwing a day of stretching, and then always walking 10,000 steps a day. I'm on right now, I think like close to 100 days in a row of 10,000 steps a day.
Congratulations.
So yeah, every once in a while, something comes up where you can't get your steps in, but I make that an effort, because I think that it just shows like a commitment or energy level that you're active. That's what I would call it. It's a good activity level, getting 10,000 steps a day in. And what I love about walking, so everyone, there are a million videos on walking 10,000 steps a day and the positive health benefits. Everyone can walk for the most part. Of course, there are some people with certain limiting factors that can't. But in general, most people can walk. Even in Miami, it gets really hot out. You could always go to a mall. You can always, find a treadmill. So, go watch a podcast, go watch a TV show, go do anything.
Like, literally, you can
Yeah.
clean your place and you're actively walking around.
Two things at once.
So many things you can do to get steps.
So yeah, it's just a simple philosophy, which is, like I said, 4 to 5 days a week, 45 to 60 minutes. And, I've had a really busy, stressful life for the last 2 years. And I have to work at all hours, work out. A lot of times I'm working out 10, 30, 11 o'clock at night. And when I'm going through those tough times, but I'm still getting my workouts in, I just think that anyone can do it if they have the resolve. And then I'm fortunate because I have optimized hormone levels. So I have really good energy levels, which, affords me a luxury. So anyone who's suffering from low energy should think about getting their hormone levels checked.
Definitely. So when it comes to the workouts, 4 to 5 days a week and just old school weightlifting does the job.
You got it for me. I mean, I've been doing this for my entire life. And, now in certain instances, I'm about as strong as I've ever been. So, it's not that I'm lifting to set any type of powerlifting records, but it's nice at the age of 54 to be towards the peak of where you were strength-wise.
Yeah, that's great. So let's say we've got someone who's never worked out before, has no clue what they're doing. What is it that you would suggest to them? Is it just to also work out 4 to 5 times a week, lift weights, and start with what you can and work your way up?
Yeah. Well, I would say consider getting not everyone can afford a trainer. So obviously that's a limiting factor for some people. I would say to consider getting a personal trainer for about 10 sessions to teach you the basics.
Yeah.
And then, once you get the basics down and know what you're doing so you don't injure yourself, that's pretty good. If you can afford it, continue on with the trainer or see the trainer once a month, to make sure that you're continuing to do things the right way. But, making sure that you have proper form, that you're doing the right thing, because so many people that I see going to the gym, I feel bad for them. But I don't want to be rude, but they're just wasting their time because they're just not, they're spending the time in there, but they're not changing body wise. They're not really working hard and they're doing the wrong type of exercises. So
yeah,
a trainer's a good idea. You could always watch a video.
I was thinking, there's one guy specifically I'm thinking of that's on YouTube that he can really, really teach you form. He's always in his gym.
Athlete Next is a good guy.
He just is. He can really show you proper form, and I think from personal experience, form makes all the difference when it comes to seeing gains.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, there's so much now there's so much information out there that there's very rarely an excuse that someone not strength training. I will say that some data studies suggest that you get the best results when you lift heavier weights in general. You build more muscle, but you can build close to the same amount of muscle doing lower weight and high reps. The key is not stopping short of the reps. And so I think that that's where some people fall down and don't see as good results because they quit, 2 to 3 reps or 4 reps. And I'll tell you, here's a good example. So I'll give a shout out to, I think it's Manning at Legacy Fitness. He owns a gym now. But about 20 years ago, I tried to help my mom strength train. She did not want to listen to her son. Mom, you know this. If you watch this video, you didn't want to listen to me. So for Mother's Day, I got her 10 sessions with Manning. Now it's amazing because the guy has grown into a business owner and has multiple locations. And, because my mom she wasn't doing the right weight. She wasn't taking it to failure. And so Manning really helped her understand that. And then she came back and she sort of said, and she will admit this also, she said, you were right. I wasn't doing everything the right way. So anyway, yeah, there's the advantage or the benefit of training with someone who really knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And this will be the last thing I ask that's segueing off of your journey a little bit, but what if there is someone what's your advice or take on it when someone has all of the same things that you were feeling initially, but working out is not really something they desire?
It's not a priority. You know, they can still feel everyday life is exercise. So, you know, when we were 18, we could build muscle. We didn't have to always like weight lift. We could probably do push-ups, pull-ups. You know, I just think that strength training is so critical. If someone doesn't like strength training, they should figure out some form of exercise, whether, you know, yoga, Pilates, where they're putting their bodies under pressure, or their muscles, giving their muscles the opportunity to grow and get stronger.
Yes.
So,
some sort of activity.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are just so many data studies. By the way, we're in Miami filming out on a balcony. If you couldn't hear that, some idiot, well, that's a strong word, but
Some
someone
guy who really likes cars or his motorcycle
is just
revving
up his engine, you know, to annoy everyone in the neighborhood. But anyway, yeah, you know, just find some type of exercise that puts the body under load.
So my takeaway then is, you know, if someone's not really into working out, but they want to start their health journey and they want to feel better, like you're going to be someone who does push them to be at least active in some sort of way.
I would suggest it. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if someone is low from like a testosterone growth hormone perspective, they're still going to dramatically benefit and feel better once their levels are optimal.
Yeah.
You know, they may not see the physical gains of someone who goes to the gym all the time, but they're still going to feel better.
Yeah.
So long-term health, I still, you know, it depends on someone's goal. They will still feel better, so it's still worth doing it. But where they're going to lose out is just over time, they're just not going to be as healthy as they can be.
It's fair.
Oh, is it a jet ski? I don't know if you guys on the video will be able to see some jet ski flying. But anyway.
All right, so now let's move on and just kind of briefly go over your current diet. Do you follow a diet? What do you think of like trends of diets that people will try to do? Do you think it can be a lot? Just your take on diets and then yours specifically.
All right. So I think that I tell my clients, people who are on diets are always on diets. I have seen that my whole life with different people that I know that are always moving from one diet to the next diet, and then they lose a dramatic amount of weight, and then they gain the weight back, and then they lose weight, and then they gain weight, and then they lose weight, and it's a constant yo-yo effect. I think adopt a healthy lifestyle and figure out, you know, some type of eating pattern that helps you stay in good shape. So that's number one. Forget about this diet stuff.
Yeah, so you're not on diet culture.
Adopt a healthy lifestyle and eating habits that are sustainable.
Okay.
My number one rule for food is avoid processed food, period. So that's no crackers, no cookies, no sauces, no salad dressing, no Coke, no Diet Coke, no juice.
Nothing that comes in a box, a can, a package.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because we can't control the chemicals and sugar that they're putting into all of those different products. So that's the easiest, I think, piece of advice I give to everyone. Mm-hmm. You know, if you like salads and salad dressing, make a homemade salad dressing. It can be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, vegetables with seasoning on it is great. You don't need to like dump processed cheese on it. You know, seriously, you know, healthy fish, healthy steak, chicken, you know, good sources of protein, nuts, good sources of fat. And so get rid of processed foods. So that's my number one rule. And I don't always adhere to that, but I try to adhere to it as the best that I can. You know, don't bring junk food home to the house.
Yeah. What is your take on ordering?
Well, I think, too many people. I mean, we had a client, or a prospective client, we were meeting with them. I was meeting with them, and we were going over his body comp. And here's what happens a lot of times. He was already on testosterone at a different clinic. Excuse me. He claimed that he worked out 5-6 days a week and he ate perfectly. And we're going through all of this stuff, and then I finally, like, it hits on me. He's 24% body fat, which is right on the borderline of obese. Something is wrong. You know, he's lying to himself on something. And so I just said to him, how are you almost obese and you work out 5 to 6 days a week and you don't drink and you eat perfect and your testosterone level is 1500? It was 15. You know, he was coming to us. He wasn't even a client, and is not a client right now, and he had 1500 testosterone, which is an amazing level, top couple percent in the world. And then all of a sudden it comes out that he's eating Uber Eats when his girlfriend is not home, and they're also, you know, sometimes making this snack and that snack. So
Yeah.
it's clear that, you know, he lacked accountability.
Yeah.
And so I think that, yeah, anytime that you're ordering food in all the time, there's a chance that you're getting chemicals and sugars in the sauces, and you're not controlling your caloric intake. And then you, a lot of times also, are eating at unhealthy hours.
Yeah, and I think the main thing with eating out versus eating at home, you can cook the same meal that you would order, but it will have two totally different effects on you, because you can, like you were saying, you can control the ingredients that you're cooking with, the sauce, the whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the ordering out, you know, that should be a treat for yourself once a month.
Well, I think the other thing is that whether it's going out to dinner or ordering in, we all know that we can eat at home and we'd be happy with like a little salad and some grilled chicken or something small. Mm-hmm. When we go out to dinner, we're ordering appetizer.
You're scoffing down a loaf of bread.
Sometimes they're giving bread on the table. Then you're ordering an entree on top of that.
Dessert.
Yeah, so especially now in Miami, there's this thing called Miami Spice, where there are these packages that you can go out to all these really high-end restaurants, and they give you an appetizer, entree, and dessert at a special price. So, and then also even ordering food in, you're not ordering like the exact amount that you'd eat to make you hungry, or I mean, I'm sorry, to like make you full. You're just ordering like all of your favorite stuff, and then you're like stuffing yourself, and you sometimes are ordering dessert. So I just think that if you really are on a mission to get in shape, and you have these health goals, to just minimize all of that.
Yeah. So what's your current like day-to-day eating habits look like? Are you eating 3 meals a day? Do you prioritize protein? Like,
yeah, I mean, I try to get, I don't do a good enough job at managing my macros. I'll be 100% honest. I'll be accountable. I think that I would be in much better shape if I was, if I was really focused on my diet at the moment. But you know, I'm not, for a bunch of different reasons. But usually at the office, I'll do, you know, 2 of these sort of vegan shake meal replacers, which each have about, the way that I do it is about 40 grams each. So at the office, I'm probably having, you know, 80 grams of protein throughout the day, 500-600 calories. And then at home, I'm usually trying to have some type of meat with dinner. You know, whether it's chicken, steak, fish, you know, eating some vegetables. At the moment, I've been eating more bread than I'd like, and, you know, probably a little bit more snack food. And then, you know, a lot of times I'm forced, due to my schedule, I might work out at, you know, 10 o'clock at night. So I might have another protein shake after the workout, which that would have another like 40 grams of protein in it. So, you know, I'm trying to get close. I weigh 195 pounds, so I'm probably trying to get close to 200 grams of protein a day. And then, you know, I'm just sort of break even weight wise. Like I said, I could clean up my diet a little bit, and I think that I would be healthier. But all things considered, that's sort of what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
And right now I did a body comp the other day, so I'm 194 pounds. I think I'm 12% body fat. And so I'm right in striking distance with where I'd like to be. And that's with even cheating. This is the other thing. I know when I don't eat perfectly that I can tend to gain a little bit of weight or a little bit of body fat. But also it's not like an extreme amount. And so I also know that when I'm discussing with our clients how their diet is, whether they're sort of always telling the truth or not, because I know even I'm not gaining weight currently, and I still eat a, you know, decent amount of unhealthy food. Yeah. So if they gain weight or are not going in the right direction, and they think they're eating perfectly, you know, when we review the diet, it always comes out that they're not. They're eating a little bit less healthy than they think.
Yeah. So it seems like even though your diet might not be what you would like for it to be, the main thing that you're doing currently is just kind of prioritizing protein.
Yeah, I always am trying to, as we get older, the body becomes less and less efficient at processing protein. So right now I'm still on the, 1 gram of protein per pound. I think you're supposed to go higher than that as you age because the body becomes less efficient at processing the protein. But yeah, I'm shooting for that in general.
Nice. I think that's good. Yeah.
Yep.
People don't realize the importance of protein. Okay. So now I want to kind of move on to talk about like how you were mentally first starting out, maybe in the middle of your whole journey, and then kind of where you're at now, and just what all of this can do for your mental health.
Yeah, I think probably the best benefit is the mental positive side of it. Not only in myself, but in a lot of the clients that I talk to, I'll call it the grumpy old man syndrome, that maybe I had or other people that have come to us have had, where your hormone levels are low, so you're tired, you don't sleep as well, so you're just sort of dragging a lot. And then that can sort of manifest in areas, relationships, work relationships, if you're tired all the time, maybe it's easier to snap at someone. If you're tired all the time, maybe you're not as friendly as you normally are. And so I think that the positive mental aspect is one of the best things that I gain from getting my health back as a result of optimizing my hormone levels. And, I don't sleep much. I probably never slept that much, but I really don't sleep that much. I think that I'm really pretty productive. I have a lot of stuff going on right now. As you know, I run Rewind. My mom is not healthy, so I take care of her quite a bit. It's a lot of time commitment, a lot of stress. And, I have all of these things going on, but, still trying to stay upbeat, still trying to have like good mental focus. And I know that if I didn't have my hormones optimized, I would in no way be able to keep up with the schedule that I have going on right now. So just like a huge boost in my life. And like I said, the productivity and happiness. And we have so many people. I mean, you've seen it now. You've been around Rewind long enough. When someone comes through the door, and they look like a different person, number one. And it's not only physical change, it's really like mental change is the biggest thing.
All over.
They come in with like big smiles, and they're like the ones that are really crushing it are excited to get on the scale, and they just feel dramatically better, and they have more confidence in life, and they're feeling better and more energy, and they're getting more work done.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like a big boost for us. Like we could even be having sometimes, at work, we even have like stressful days. Sometimes things go wrong, packages get lost. We're always trying to like do all of these things to make sure our clients are getting the orders. And sometimes there's a storm or FedEx loses packages, and we're trying to hunt things down. So
the stress of a job. Yeah.
And then someone comes in and they're feeling fantastic, and it's like this huge mental positive boost even for us when we see people happier and just doing so well mentally and physically. So yeah, I think the mental change in a lot of people that come in is really amazing.
Yeah, yourself included.
Yeah, myself included. Now it's been 12 years. I've been doing this, like I said, for 12 years. Time has flown by, and I'm so thankful that I listened to my friend. I'm so thankful that I went to hormone clinic all those years ago because the improvement in my health for the last 12 years, and then what I think is possible. I talked to another one of my clients who he's a little bit younger than me. But he could probably retire if he wanted to. He's had really good success. He's a trainer with a huge following, huge business. And I was asking him, like, do you ever see yourself slowing down? He's like, Brian, I feel so good. I don't know when I'm going to stop, 10, 20, 30 years. And I feel the same way. It's nice to be able to retire, but I have no desire. I want to be doing this for a long time, and I'm nothing is going to stop me from doing that, So I think that's just like the huge positive boost that I get from being in shape.
So to kind of wrap some things up, you were talking about, just this past year, 2 years, you've had obstacles in life. So I guess I just want to know kind of what your advice would be to someone who is doing everything right, but like life still gets in the way.
Yeah, I think that life is full of obstacles. It's the, now no one wants to admit this or say it, or no one ever thinks this. We live in the easiest times ever in the history of the world. I know, like right now with all the political upheaval and all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world, people are stressed out. But like now people are getting stressed out about not getting enough likes on Instagram or not getting invited to go out, or all these things where, 100 years ago we had food scarcity. We had just getting through World War I. There was World War II. 150 years ago, the average life expectancy was 40. I'm 14 years past the average life expectancy from 170 years ago in 1850. So we have plentiful food. If anything, we have too much food because we have an obesity epidemic and an overweight, epidemic. And so I just look at it and think that we have, not everything is relative. So our challenges today are so dramatically different than they were in the past. The sad part about what's going on in the political world, and I'm not going to make a political statement, but I will say this. What everyone should be saying is that we're living in really wonderful times. Historically, we have more peace, even though there are some, awful wars going on in the world, but the world has had wars from the beginning of time. We have plentiful food. We have shelter. We have electricity. We have running water. We don't have outhouses. All of these marvels of technology and advancement. And so our lives are relatively easy compared to what they were. But, we have people that trying to convince us that life is so awful and it's just for their gain. And so I just think, appreciate everything that we have. Until you have a family member or until we're personally sick, we never appreciate health. And when we see someone, unwell, or if we're unwell, there's no amount of money in the world that we wouldn't give up to be healthy ourselves or to make that person in our lives healthy. And all the other material stuff is really meaningless when someone is unhealthy. And so it's really all about just appreciating what we have, and getting through those obstacles. Life, as you get older, has more and more obstacles. Your injuries pile up. But don't let, just don't let negative attitude and excuses get in your way. Like where there's a will, there's a way. Hard work. Hard work will get you through a lot of things in life. And sometimes you just got to really deal with the tough, emotional, difficult times and just keep rolling with it and keep pushing and keep pushing through it as best as you can.
Yeah, I would say like one piece of advice that you personally gave me, and I think this could go for a lot of people, is just how important it is to be healthy and mentally strong in times when life does put you down, because things are easier.
Yeah, we all go through difficult times, and Audrey went through a difficult time a while back, and I did too. We won't get into personally what happened, but what I find is that too many people bury themselves in going through a difficult time, maybe drinking alcohol or doing whatever. The problem never goes away. Mm-hmm. So it's literally like the only thing you can do when you're going through a really tough time or someone is sick, or stay healthy, stay positive. Alcohol is a depressant. Keep on top of your game. I remember this one scene. I always remember it. It's from Braveheart. And towards the end, they were the queen wanted to give him an elixir to take him out of his pain, and he just had this warrior's mentality where he didn't want it, because I know what he was thinking about when he was on that board about to die. He was thinking to himself, "What is my way out of this?" Without a clear mind, how can we get out of bad times? And so I just think it's so important to stay healthy and stay positive, even in rough times, stay away from negative energy, and so, yeah. And then, here's another piece of advice that I gave Audrey in her own transformation, which I think is critical. And this goes to anyone. The minute you want to have a good body and be in shape is the minute that you will have one. And, she used to ask me, what do you mean by that? And I would say, well, the minute that you want to be in shape and have, the shape that you want more than you want to go out, more than you want that latte, more than you want dessert, more than you want to eat unhealthy, more than you want to sit on your couch watching TV as opposed to go to the gym, is the minute that you start to get that figure and shape and health that you want. And then you listen, and slowly over time, and even when I interviewed you, you felt like I did, which it wasn't difficult. I mean, it's 45 to 60 minutes a day and doing some extra walking and cleaning up the diet. It's not rocket scientists. And then what we have is not an advantage, but what we do is optimize our hormone levels, which make all that work and effort more valuable and give you better results. And where I think that it also helps is it gives you the energy to actually go to the gym. So, but yeah, those are two, I think, really good pieces of advice. And, you know, anyone who wants to change and become better, it's easy. You just got to set that goal. And then you have to stick to the goal and make the goal a priority.
Definitely. All right. So we've covered a lot. I think that you've had a very inspiring change, and I think it will be something that continues on for you for forever. And I really admire that. So I guess if we just want to have any parting thoughts, if you have any last things you want to say, just about your own journey.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that I regret, so don't be like me, is that I waited too long. I had a friend and a client who was telling me for 3 years that I should go to a clinic, that he felt like my testosterone levels might be a little bit low. I was dragging my feet. I don't know why. Whatever. It was so easy, but I just dragged my feet. If you feel like your hormone levels are off, your hormone levels are probably off. If you feel like you're working out and doing all the right stuff and you're not getting in shape, there's a good possibility that your hormone levels are not optimal. If you're doing the same stuff that you used to do 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that used to work and used to get you in shape, and they no longer are, there's a really big chance that your hormone levels are not optimal. And what I always suggest to people is to run a hormone panel, check their levels, see where they're at, and then if they're suboptimal, you can address them and then start making progress. So, you know, if you think that something is off, go have it checked, and then never think that you're down and out and that's not possible. And I'll give one last story, which I think is a really amazing story. I'm going to hopefully do a podcast with a good friend of mine. She came to us about two and a half years ago. She really, you know, credits me, maybe more, or credits Rewind more than she should, but says that it saved her life because she's had COVID a couple times in those 2 years. You know, she used to weigh about 190 pounds. Now she weighs about 120. So she lost 72 pounds. When I initially talked to her, she had wanted to get back to 165 pounds. She's only 5'1". And I said, that's just not enough weight. And her thought process was, well, you know, 120 is impossible. I felt so much better at 160, 165. I just want to get back there. And I just kept telling her, like, you're shortchanging yourself. Your goal's not aggressive enough. You're still going to be unhealthy. Like, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And, you know, I think it took a lot of like prodding for me. And then all of a sudden, you know, it just started working. And she called me up when she hit like 165, you know, because it came really fast. She's like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, I know I like gave you a hard time sometimes when you're telling me that you know, 165 wasn't enough, but you're right. 165 is not enough. And she just blew through that number. And then it was literally like a pound and a half every single week times 52 weeks. And she lost 70 pounds. So it's literally, you know, an amazing transformation. And, you know, she was limiting herself. I knew it was possible because I had done it. And so it was really amazing to see. So don't limit yourself. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Last question, because I definitely want to ask you this. Any future goals that you have set for yourself, stuff you want to try, things you want to be better at?
Yeah, my health goal is always 10% body fat. So that's just like a running, that's a running sort of goal of mine. So I always have that one. I'm 2% away. I've been probably self-sabotaging myself, which a lot of times I think we tend to do. So that's a little unfortunate that I do that, but we all do it. So, 10%. And then I just have my personal goal is to sort of become like a Sylvester Stallone. He's 78 years old. He still has amazing health. He still looks amazing. And I just want to live my life in a healthy way so that I get another great 20, 30 years out of this. I don't think that my, the health has to decline dramatically, as we age. I want to just have the best next 20, 30 years. So that's one of my goals. Obviously, I want to have many, many rewinds. So I'm always working towards opening the next one. And, I guess as a benefit of owning a rewind is I want to help as many people as possible, which is great. It's a great business, and it's nice to grow the business from a, success standpoint. But one of the things that is really critical to me is helping people. And it's really wonderful working with people when we see those results, when they come in and they're happier and you can see the change that they have. And so, just, personal goal is always to stay in shape, to look and feel as good as possible for as long as possible.
That's great. That's great. Well, I thought this was really nice to do. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to ask you all these questions. I think that's all we've got. Thanks for watching the video. And
awesome. Thanks for turning the table on me, asking all these questions. Awesome. Well, we'll catch you at the next episode.